be a real comedy, or this may never see YouTube, because I saw a recipe some while back, and I saw a picture of it, and it looked really good. It had shrimp and tofu, and it used ginger root. I bought ginger root to make that recipe, but then I didn't keep the magazine. So then I made that corn and curry recipe recently, which also used ginger, and that was great. So I had to go back and try to find this recipe online, and I did, and in reading it, well, some of the things I don't like and some of the things I don't have, but I still have that ginger root, and I wanted to give it a try. So yeah, with all these substitutions, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, or even how to explain it. But this is light tofu, and the recipe just calls for a block of tofu, a pound of tofu, and it tells you to pat it dry, which I've already done, and then to cut it into 1-inch cubes, and that's the first step. Meanwhile, you're going to be sauteing mushrooms, and then you're supposed to remove the mushrooms from the pan and saute a few other things. I had some leftover shrimp in the freezer from when I went out to eat and had grilled shrimp salad, I think. So I'm only basically going to make half of the recipe to see how it turns out. So I'm going to use half the block of tofu. I'm grabbing a bowl for these mushrooms because I started the pan, and of course it calls for oil and all that stuff. So let me start with the mushrooms. I didn't burn it yet. It calls for shiitake mushrooms, and I didn't have those in the fridge. I'm just using plain white mushrooms. It also calls for white wine, and I don't have that. And in looking at the different substitutions online for white wine, none of them really made sense. One of them was chicken stock or vegetable broth, but I'm already using that. The other one's called for vinegar, but they were like, well, what's your recipe? So I'm thinking ginger and vinegar, unless it were the rice wine vinegar, but anyway, I'm not substituting anything for it. Okay, so here's my block of tofu. Just going to cut it about in half. And I've already chopped up about a tablespoon of ginger and a tablespoon of garlic. Now, I've never made a recipe like this with tofu. I just use tofu, as you might have seen in one of the videos. I bake it in the oven and then use it to put on salads. So I've never made it in an entree like this before. And I don't know why you'd need tofu and shrimp, but whatever, I'm trying something new. So after this, we take these out, and then we cook the ginger and garlic with green pepper. Green pepper was not in the recipe either, and you're going to laugh, this makes no sense. It called for snow peas. And I'm stubborn, and when I think I'm going to make something, I want to do it. Even if I don't have the right stuff. So I kept thinking, green, I need something green. Oh, I have a green pepper. So that's how that became involved. And later on it calls for scallions, and I didn't have any of those, but I had a red onion. And actually I'm glad, because the green pepper, or even if it were the snow peas, and the scallions would be the same color. So now I'm going to have a pretty red onion in there instead. Alright, so these are about done. So the next thing, as I said, was to saute the green peppers with the garlic and ginger. Now the pan's going to be hot. Too hot to put that non-stick spray in it, probably. And I have a tablespoon of soy sauce back here too, light soy sauce. And over here is some vegetable broth. I'm cooling down my pan a little. Okay, now, ginger, garlic, and both of these said chopped, not minced, and my green pepper. Now it says that you cook the snow peas until they get bright green or a little bit soft. So I will just try to mimic that with the green pepper. getting a little water to simmer fry. And you cook the shrimp and the tofu together, even though my shrimp's already cooked. So, oh, I just lost ginger garlic overboard. Okay, so I'm going to leave this in the pan and I'm going to add the tofu first because the shrimp's already cooked. Actually, I think that I'll just put the shrimp in here with the mushrooms because it's already totally cooked. And I guess the very last thing to add is the onion. So this is going to be simmering a little bit in the broth. The tofu and shrimp. I don't think there's anything in the world wrong with snow peas. Just don't have any. Do add the tofu. Like I said, I've never cooked tofu like this before. I suppose it should get brown on the bottoms. I think some of the pieces are bigger than an inch, so they're so easy to break in half with this wooden spoon. You want them to cook a little. The tofu is getting a little brown on the side, bottom, whatever. I like that. But you have to watch because we are not cooking it in oil. You might even want to have getting like my pores open at the same time, a spatula so in case you need to scrape. Because if the pan doesn't dry up a little bit, you won't get the searing or browning of the tofu. So you kind of have to watch what you're doing here. And you want to be careful that you don't make the tofu fall apart like scrambled eggs. Probably I will edit this video so that all the time I'm standing here just stirring and babbling to you, I'll just cut it right out. Okay, so the tofu has cooked a little, and if the shrimp had been raw, then I would have waited till it turns pink. Now it says to add the broth or stock and the wine, which I'm not using. I have a cup prepared here, but I'm only going to use about half of it. Now, they want you to let it simmer until you boil out or it absorbs about half of that liquid. Okay, it looks like about half of it has evaporated, so I'm going to stir in now the mushrooms and the shrimp. Remember, because my shrimp's already cooked. If you're trying this, God bless you, if you're trying it, you might be doing raw shrimp, so make sure you cook it with the tofu. And if you also bring home some of your dinner, then there you've just found something to do with that shrimp. So now the next thing to do is add the soy sauce and the onion. And it says you only cook it about 30 seconds for the onion to get done, but I think maybe a couple minutes or a minute. That is so much prettier. I'm so glad that I had red onion in the refrigerator. Okay, there's my little bit of soy sauce. Alright, I'm going to bring the camera over here so you can see it. I'm going to let it simmer for a minute, and I'm probably going to upload it on YouTube just because I took the time to make the video.